Welcome to the Waseca Small Town Big Stories podcast, sponsored by Bird's Eye Foods and Itron. I'm your host, Ann Fitch, the Executive Director of the Waseca Area Chamber of Commerce, where we promote business and enhance community. Today I'm joined at the Suburban Furniture Table by Edna Burns, the Chairperson of the Waseca Marching Classic, and Mary Williams, the Treasurer and Historian of the Waseca Marching Classic. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. My first question is, how long have you two been involved with the Marching Classic?
Well, I've been involved since the beginning, the very beginning with Butch Dufault, and the first year I was co-chair with Mary Jane Stauffer doing the concessions. That was my first job on this.
And what year did the Marching Classic start?
It started in 1988. It was a part of the Waseca All-School Reunion. And it was Mr. Dufault, Rich, we call him Butch,
Sure.
that went to Larry Dukes, the chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce, and he said, I have an idea. Let's have a Waseca Band Festival included in the reunion. And that's how it got started.
That is so cool, because 88 was the first all-school reunion. And then it's every 10 years on the 8s.
Yes.
Yep.
Very cool. And how long have you been involved, Edna?
I knew you were going to ask, and I forgot to look, but I think I'm pushing 15 years
Holy
because
cow.
of her. She says, I'm going to get her on that board. And I says, well, I was on the band boosters. And I said, not when I'm there. And then I had to get my kids through school. And then I says, I'll think about it. Well, then she made me Grand Marshal. And then I said, well, maybe now I can. So it's probably pushing 15 years.
Right. And I know she also has a passion for this program, and she was so involved with the boosters like I was before I went on it. And I was on the boosters and this at the same time. But I knew she would be a perfect fit, and she has proved me right.
Absolutely. You two do such a fantastic job with the Marching Classic. It is an event that this community and area looks forward to every September. It's such a fun regional event. Now, Mary, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about the history of the Marching Classic, because I think we have a lot of people in the community who they just attend it, and maybe they don't remember all the origins of it. How many bands were in the first one? Do you remember?
I think there could have been maybe 10, I'm not sure. But what happened years ago when we started is we'd have our parade at 10 in the morning with our field competition at 2.
Okay.
And the idea was that it was a band festival competition, and only the bands were in the parade.
Oh, so you didn't have any of the businesses or organizations in there handing out candy, so just strictly bands?
Correct.
Oh.
And then I think it was Butch, along with maybe even Don Zwak, they said, we need to make this more of a community celebration. Mm-hmm. So that's when we started inviting businesses and floats or whoever would be willing to be in it, and we made it more festive.
Oh, I love it.
And so it has evolved throughout the years.
Yes.
Yeah, it has grown to something very, very large.
And community, and that was very important to us, to include the community in what we were doing.
And the community loves it.
Right.
I can tell you, because people line the streets for it.
Well, usually when I come into town about 7 o'clock in the morning to go out to the high school, there are lawn chairs all the way down State Street waiting for the parade to start. And this is very early in the morning. And I go through at 7, and they've been there a while. And I used to be that way when my kids were there, when it's still happening now. So,
Absolutely. Now, Edna, how long have your kids been out of band?
my daughter graduated in '01 and my son in '05. So it's been
a couple years.
Just a couple years, yes.
And Mary, how long has it been since your youngest has been out of Waseca High School band?
Well, our youngest is Jimmy, and he graduated in 97.
So again, been about 26, 27 years since you've had a kid in band.
Right, and he was a drum major, I'd like to add to that.
He absolutely was
Yes.
a drum major. Now, what keeps band parents so involved in band? Like, I got to tell you, there's something different about band parents. And anybody who's not a band parent, who watches band parents stay involved, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys are built different. Why do you stay around so long? Tell me about it. What's the attraction? I know it's Waseca Band. It's a big deal. But tell me.
Well, it's a tradition in Waseca for all the fine arts,
Right.
actually.
Yes.
And I guess we do believe in it.
Yeah.
We do believe that the children, students, gain much more than music. It's leadership. There's many attributes that they gain from doing this. So I guess that, and now when it's become community for me also, I feel like I'm doing something good for the students, and I want to do something good for the students, and know that the community. We've lived here since 1969, and Jack was a teacher since that time, so we've been very connected to the school,
Yeah.
and I think that's my driving force.
Well, and a couple people over the last couple weeks have said, "Are you still doing that marching band thing?" And I'm going, "Yeah." "Why are you still doing it? Your kids are out." And I'm going, when it's not fun anymore, then I'm done. It's still fun. I enjoy what I'm doing, and it's for the community, for the kids, and if it's something you enjoy, you're going to keep doing it. And I have a great community to work with, so.
Yes, we do. We have a real good community to work with, and they're all parents of previous band students.
Yeah.
And we have 3 alumni students on the committee right now, too, that have just joined us in the last couple of years, which is awesome.
Right.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I love it because it's a testament, first of all, to the Waseca community that people want to continue to do good things for our community and have good events. It's a testament to the band program that not only Butch Dufault curated and built up, but those before him and those after him. And so it makes sense
It does.
that
does
that
make
people just continually do for the band program. And I see band alumni come back to help, to do teaching, to do coaching. I'm not sure if that's what you call it in the band community, but they're staff, thank you, instructing with the flags and the drum line and such. It's such, the Waseca band is a community, and that it's in perpetuity. It's so amazing.
It's a family.
Right.
Yeah.
Once a
Really
Blue
a
Jay,
family.
always.
Always a Blue Jay, you are absolutely correct, no matter what kind of uniform you have on.
Right,
Exactly.
Absolutely, always a Blue Jay. Tell me, when do you start on the next Marching Classics? The Marching Classic ended a couple months ago for those people who are
We've
watching this
already
recently.
started.
Okay, so tell me what's happening now. What are you doing now?
I'm paying bills.
That's kind of not true, but yet it is true. We had a meeting a month after we got done in September, and we kind of just said what went well. What can we improve on? What did you see? And of course, this year was a little bit different because we brought the whole field show inside because of rain. And so that brought a whole different aspect from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock when the field show started, or 5:30. But we made it work, and it turned out to be a great show. But so a month later, we did a lot of evaluating, and we'll take a couple months off now. But we've got the date set, and just some things are brewing. But we probably won't till January, February. Start the ball rolling again.
Sure. What are the dates for 2024?
It's the 21st.
21st of September. Okay, is that the 3rd or the 4th weekend?
This time it'll be the 3rd. See, what confuses people is that when you have 5 Saturdays, we're the second to the last Saturday.
Okay,
4 Saturdays, it's still second to the last.
okay,
So it becomes the 3rd.
got it.
And why that was done that way is because, again, Butch Dufault did not want to interfere with Laverne. And theirs is always on the last Saturday.
Regardless if they have 4 or 5 Saturdays,
It's
always on the
always
last.
on the last. So we follow them.
Got it. So it's always the second to last Saturday in September.
Correct.
Right.
So maybe the 3rd, maybe the 4th. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, because I was a little thrown off.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was a little thrown off this last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel more prepared now. Good, thank you. Tell me more about the weather that happened this last year and how you had to deal with that. Who makes the call?
Okay.
Where do you get your information from? I think it was the right call to move it inside.
It was
It
the
would
right
have been not only just the weather safety, but the safety of the students out on the field marching, and it could have been slippery and
Yeah, lots of
a little hazardous. So
Well, of course, did it rain all summer? No. Had they predicted rain all summer? No. What did they predict the week of the Classic? Rain. And not just a little rain, it could be heavy rains. So not only this year, but in the past, we've had the National Weather Service out of Chanhassen that we deal with. They call me the day before and just make sure the time and things are all in place. And then they called me on Saturday morning and, said what the forecast was going to be for the morning and said we should be fine for the parade, which we were. And then he says, I'll call you back at 3 o'clock. okay, which I knew we were going to need. And so at that point, we had said, we're going to make a decision at 3 o'clock. So the National Weather Service called, so I had a couple members from our committee, Mary and Les DeLugan, and one of the
And
judges.
Jason Miller.
And Jason Miller, yes.
I'll add to that after you finish.
Right.
Joe.
And Jason Miller and the head judge of the Classic. And so we listened to the forecast, and there was no way that we thought we could handle it. You know, we could handle it, but we didn't. We said, if we're gonna do it, let's either start outside and then, you know, deal with it then, or start it all inside. And to me, that was the way to go, because
Yeah.
that way everybody is judged the same way. The judges did come prepared to do both, and so, which is great. And then,
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
add
was
what
going to
Jason-
say, Jason Miller is on our committee now, and he's the principal, as we
Yeah.
know, at the high school. And so before we even started our meeting, he said, well, you just think about this. He said, I don't want this to make your decision, but think about it. He said, if we start out outside and it starts raining, and then everybody comes in sopping wet, and then what is the school, you know, the janitors, the custodial staff and all that, we have to think about them also. And we all said to him, Jason, it makes sense. Let's start inside right from the beginning, because also going down those bleachers, they could be slippery.
get
Oh,
slippery.
yeah, you don't want anybody slipping down those.
And it made a lot of sense. And I was actually pretty proud of our committee
Yes.
this time, because we came together and we said, this is going to happen. We're going to have a good event,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to happen. And I felt we even became closer
Yeah.
at that time, because we felt we were doing the right thing.
Oh, yeah, I think it was the right call.
Yeah, so from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we made things work. We had people working on the schedule. We basically used the same outside schedule that we had, but we brought it inside. We had a warm-up room, a green room
Yeah.
for them. Well, they had a place, well, back up a minute. Before that even started, we had to get all these kids, we're talking, what, 12 bands, 14 bands?
Oh,
there's about 14
geez.
bands,
In the
maybe.
building. And we didn't want, and none of the rooms are opened up, because in fairness to the teachers, you know, on Friday, you lock your room up, because
Yeah.
you don't want all these kids in your room. So we had to find room for 14 bands, and some of these bands are not 30, 40 members, they're 175. Eastview is a huge band.
Yeah.
And so we had to find hallways. So we made designation for each band in a hallway. And I really have to say, these bands came together, kids came together. There was no confusion. They just went to their spots and they made it work. I mean, they had to.
Yeah.
But they're band kids. They know how to work together, and it all worked. And at 5:30, we had the introductions, and it just like we were outside, and it was really great. At the end of the night, I said to, I think it was one of our color guard instructors, I said to him, how do you think it went? He said it was awesome. He said it was a good way for some of our kids to bond together. They had to talk to people that they probably wouldn't have talked to before, because I don't want to say forced into it.
Sure.
But they, had to sit and visit and stay in an area. They couldn't be off running around.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Well,
So-
one of the band students' parents too took pictures, because they said there was camaraderie here. They were in the halls, they had to wait to perform, and it was a blessing in disguise. These, like you said, these band students talked with one another that they maybe not have a
Sure.
chance in a normal one. And we had it worked really slick, because they used the choir room for the warm-up room, and then we had them go on the west side into the gym, and then they exited the east side, so you made that circle.
Oh, very
So
nice.
While one band was performing in the gym, the next band was getting set up on the west side, so we kept it going. And I was really proud of
Right.
the kids and everybody, and how everybody cooperated.
Oh, that's great.
So one thing we did different than we do normally we have all the awards at the end of the night.
Yeah.
That night, because of not knowing whether it was going to storm, and some of these bands had a long ways to travel. So after each class, we had the awards given to their class, and then we go on to the next class and give out the awards. So there was not a big finale at the end of the night
Sure.
for awards. And of course, they missed their big fireworks.
Yeah, the
Yes.
fireworks I think are just a cool addition to the field show. Now, when did those start? What year did those start?
Oh, I can't even remember. It's been a while. See, like I said, we've always tried to evolve.
Yeah.
We always tried to add things to entice band students to be here.
Yeah.
And just like years ago, too, we used to have a banquet for the band directors.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you could maybe entice the band director, hey, this Waseca thing sounds good, we would do it. And then afterwards, we found out, oh, they really didn't want to do that because they wanted to be with their band.
Sure.
So then we gave that idea. Then we decided, okay, what else can we do to have band directors want to come to Waseca? Then it was the educational clinics, and that now happens throughout the day. And we try to schedule them within a certain period of time so they're not coming too early. You know, we adjust to what their schedule is. And then we incorporated in 2009 so we could apply for grants
Nice.
because we could not do that before.
Sure.
And so Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council has helped us with the educational clinics. They can't help us with the whole event because it's not in their bylaws.
Sure.
But the educational clinics, they can. So see, that evolved. And we don't charge the bands anything for participating in that. That's kind of like
Oh.
a gift from us.
Yeah.
Oh, so because getting bands to participate is a competition amongst band festivals.
Right.
You're trying to do anything you can to get bands to come here. Now, I'm sure you have your regulars that we've always seen and that we've always loved the competition to come to town.
Right.
But it is a competition to get bands to come here, correct?
Right.
Right, and that's why when we started way back when in 1988, we said September, because the idea was if they come to our contest first and then go to others, they're going to be critiqued at ours, and then they can improve their show as they compete in other competitions. And that's why we chose the first part of September. And there were very few competitions when we began, and now there aren't. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the city schools stay there, and there aren't very many that have parades either. Laverne does.
Yeah.
But many of them just have a field competition. So when they go to the cities, some of these bands might compete like maybe in Eden Prairie in the afternoon and then Eastview at night.
Which are
so they double up.
Oh my.
And Hastings and Eastview, or maybe are on the same weekend too. There's 2 weekends where they double up. Yeah, but getting back to fireworks, did we do that? I think maybe for our 20th. We did it for a banner year.
We did it for a reason, and it's a favorite of the band students.
Yeah, I think it was 2018. I feel like it was one of the
See, I would,
was one of the
We have to
first
go back
ones.
and look.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
But about 3 years ago, we started a Marching Classic scholarship. And in the last year or so, we've asked at the end of our interviews, we've said, what do you enjoy about the Marching Classic? These are coming from our band students. One of the thing that is said almost every time is the fireworks at the end.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So, it's just something the kids look forward to, and it's.
Right, and I'm real happy that we've started a scholarship. It's a $1,000 scholarship, and the criteria is that they have to be in band for 4 years in high school. But you do not have to major in college in music.
Oh.
We felt that they've given enough to the band program, the 4 years they're
Yes.
in high school, that then they should do whatever they wish once they graduate. I'm real happy we're
Right.
doing that.
And a color guard received the award a year ago. And so it isn't just for band students, it's for anybody in the band program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have to be in marching band 4 years or just band?
Marching.
band.
Marching band.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
Because we're a marching
Of
class.
course.
Yes.
Of course. Of course.
And years ago, it was called the Waseca Band Festival.
Mm-hmm.
But then as we grew and evolved, then we decided, hey, we have to have a new name. So then we came up with the Waseca Marching Classic, because we're a classy event.
This is a classy event.
We try to make it classy, yes.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
it's a classic Waseca event as well.
Right, right.
It has become just something that everyone knows happens in the fall, and that it's a great event in
Yeah,
Waseca.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
One thing I'd like to mention too, as the first one, we have Grand Marshals, and it was Ruth and Joe Kozan.
Oh,
And they were the perfect first Grand
Yes,
Marshals,
yes.
because with being with the Waseca Music Company, and Ruth especially, because she was a little bit more involved maybe than Joe. I mean, she was out at that high school all the time getting instruments.
Instruments,
She went above and beyond to help the band students.
absolutely,
So
she
they
did.
were it was really fun that they were our first Grand Marshals.
Well, and to be blessed to have a music company right here in Waseca.
Truly, truly, to have a music store in a town of our size is awesome.
Well, and if you ever walk into the music company or music store here in Waseca, it is a unique experience.
It is a unique experience.
Right.
Yes, if you think you're just going to go into a Waseca Music Company for a quick hot second, you're not.
No.
You will be in there visiting with Jim much longer than you anticipated.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to add to that, our second year, we decided we wanted to have another trophy, and that would be the Herb Strite Spirit Award. We wanted to give something to show, or the students would show us their spirit, their, how they were with other band students and all that. And so we called it the Herb Strite Spirit Award because he was a band director here years ago for
Yes.
many, many years. And so that
In the
was
60s and 70s, correct?
I want to say that.
Yeah.
Well, Butch was here, and he came maybe in '75, so it was previous to,
Okay.
I would say, in the '60s. maybe.
Sure.
But we thought that was a nice tribute to a not band student, a band.
Yeah, a
period.
band director, yeah.
Period, to
Yeah.
Then we added-
earn that award.
We added the Butch Dufold.
And then when Butch passed away, we wanted to honor him in some way, so then our combined trophy for both field and parade, that you have to be in both to get
Yeah.
this big trophy, we named it the Richard Butch Dufold Trophy.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love those types of legacy trophies. I think they're very meaningful to the people who they're named after, their families, and the programs that they have made such an impact on. So I think it's great when you name an award after someone.
And it's kind of funny too, this, because we had to go indoors this year, that trophy is given at the end of the competition. So the person or the band that got it had left already because of weather.
Oh, sure.
So I just got an email from Tyler Peterson, and he's with band in Spirit
Spirit
Lake,
Lake.
Iowa. Because I said, I'll make arrangements with you, because they should have that Spirit Award
Yes.
at their school, not sitting in my dining room.
Correct. Correct.
So he and I are making arrangements to give it to him next
Oh,
week.
that's fantastic.
Next week.
Yeah. We had a band that was here a year ago, not this last fall, but a year ago in 2022, from Mitchell, South Dakota. And so I tried to make the rounds that day in my little golf cart, because I put many miles on that day. And I happened to stop and visit with him and different people in the band, the fans or the trailer crew, and said, welcome, and, hopefully you'll come back again. Oh, we'll be back again. So this year rolls around, and Les Tulugan, which does sending out all the registrations, wasn't coming in, and it wasn't coming in, and we're going, where's Mitchell, South Dakota? So Les Tulugan gets on the phone and calls Mitchell, South Dakota. Well, he's no longer a director in there. He's gone to Sioux Falls, Lincoln,
No, Washington.
Washington.
Okay.
Sioux Falls, Washington.
And so Les called Sioux Falls, Washington, and talked to the director. And he goes, oh, I'm coming, even from Sioux Falls. So, okay, fine. But he says, I'll call the new director in Mitchell. And lo and behold, they were here.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
Word of mouth, and
Yeah.
we mailed his trophy to him too, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, because they got a trophy in.
Yeah.
So this year was a little different, but it's so nice to hear that, and I think Edna too does such a nice job, because she sees the band directors that day. I'm busy kind of working with my wristbands and everything else, and she makes sure that she is welcoming to the band directors.
Yes.
And if I see someone too, we just make them feel like, gee, we're really happy you're here. And also the spectators, we really try hard, and it's sincere, Ann. We're not
Yeah.
just saying it. We're really saying to them, we're so happy you're with us today.
Right.
And maybe that makes a difference,
I
Anna.
think it does.
I don't know.
I had a lady this year, about Thursday of the Classic Week from Lakefield South, give me a text on my Facebook page. Can we connect? And I said, sure. And she wanted to know about outlets to bring food in for, because they were bringing food
Sure.
for their, for the day. And so I checked it out. I says, well, there was some in the commons, and then she was thinking about outside, and I says, well, I don't think so. Why don't you come on in? And so between Thursday and Saturday, we probably had 3 or 4 times that we made communication and stuff, and where to meet and whatever. Come Saturday, about mid-morning, after they'd been here a while, she comes and puts a package on my table out at the high school, and I says, what's this for? For all you've done. I says, I'd have done this for anybody. I mean, it's not, I don't expect anything. It's just something, you asked a question, I answered, and, I want it to be a great experience, so they will come back again, so.
Absolutely, you have to add that extra layer of hospitality.
Well, and it's not only the band kids and the director, it's the spectators, it's the trailer crew, there's many pieces to this.
Absolutely.
And it's also the ones participating in the parade itself, because I'm going to kind of add to that. I received a phone call. We feel phone calls that people don't even realize. And there's this lady, and she said, my dad was supposed to be in the parade, and he didn't receive some information or whatever. And I said, we'll take care of it. She said, it's very important that my dad is in it because he restored a car or something.
Okay.
And I said, he'll be in it. Just give us a little time to get it organized, and we did. She was so grateful. She was so grateful that we kind of went the extra mile, and I think that's what we do.
It makes a lot of difference,
I think that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, that's part of being a great committee like the one you're on.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Grand Marshals. How do you choose your Grand Marshal? What's your Grand Marshal criteria? You've had some great ones over the years.
Well, we kind of honor those who have been on our committee.
First.
Yes.
Yep.
And those that have been really involved with the program, those at the high school for
Yep.
years too. So that's our criteria.
Love
And then
it.
for the friend of the classic, we more or less honor the businesses who maybe have given some financial help in some way or other, either in kind or whatever.
Perfect.
And so, so that's how that's
Yeah.
determined.
Yeah, some years are easier than others, and then, well, yeah, it all works out. But all of them have been very deserving, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you looking for volunteers
Always.
Yes.
for the classic committee?
Always. Yeah.
They are looking for volunteers. Anyone out there who would love to help with this fantastic event, Edna and Mary would love for you to be part of the team.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be on our committee all year long, which
Yeah.
we really would, because someday we're going to be too old to be on the committee, as some people
Someday.
Someday.
Not today, not tomorrow, but someday.
So, if you're not interested in doing it on the committee for the whole year, think about the week of or 2 months, prior.
Sure.
Just, getting your feet wet that day. What can I do that day to help?
Oh, okay. So people can just kind of hop in and out. They
Right,
don't.
but
They don't have to do the full
Right. No.
commitment it's like you ladies doing the Telugans and other
Right.
folks.
We'll work with that. And then I'm going to mention a name that's going to really lock her in. At the parade, I happened to visit with Erin Fitzsimmons. Well,
Okay.
she's from Waseca.
Yes.
She graduated, and she said, gee, this is such a wonderful event. I think I would like to be a part of it. I said, you would? I said, okay, give me your cell phone number. And she doesn't live in Waseca the full time.
Yeah.
But she's here, I think she said, from maybe June through September. I said, perfect, Erin. Whatever you want to do, former band student.
Great.
So we're trying to get these young ones to come in and still have fun, because we do like to
Yes, we have our
enjoy
fun.
it too. And so I was real happy to have that conversation with her. It was fun.
It's amazing. I have a notebook that I keep at the information table out at the high school. And if any of this stuff comes up and says, I'll be willing to help, I have scratch notes in the back of my notebook that says, call this person next year. So, yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch the Time on Maine podcast with Sarah Hoffman, she said she's always wanted to,
Yes.
she always said she wanted to help organize the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I said, well, you're in
Yes.
luck.
We have the
Yes.
next best
You
thing.
exactly, next best thing right here in Waseca, the Marching Classic. So I think you've got a potential volunteer in Sarah Hoffman.
Good, we'll have to keep her
Right.
in mind.
And I work with a few of the band parents because I help with the wristband sales, and we
Yeah.
sell them to the businesses in advance.
Sure.
And so I have parents help deliver them, because we have one set of parents, there's about 4 of them, that call. So when they actually deliver, they're going into a business that has already said yes. So they don't have to worry about going in there and say, okay, do you want to buy this?
Right.
And so then, and they seem to like doing what they're doing. So I always say to them, no, you're coming back next year, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, we will. And then they say, well, my child is graduating. And I said, well, my child graduated how many years ago?
Exactly,
So
because you want to keep giving back to the program.
Right.
Right. So they say, well, maybe we'll have to take a year or two off. But I enjoy maybe that's why I'm doing this too, because I think when you work with younger people, you become energized yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to be having this little contact with coming to my house and getting their wristbands and getting all the information and that, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
think it's fun to be
It
with
is a lot of
the
fun.
young ones.
Yep. And I'm kind of in charge of the band host besides the other stuff that I do on the committee, but we're one of the few festivals or competitions that give each band a band host the day of
Yes.
the festival. And what I've told the band host in the past when I've called and asked them to be on, and they says, well, what do we do? And I says, well, you're kind of like their right-hand man all day long. You stick with them like glue, starting when they get here. You call them up the night before and find out what time they're coming to town, if they have any questions. And then you meet them out at the high school and you're with them all day long. And I have one couple that have been doing it as long as I have been calling for band hosts, which is probably 15 years. That come back every year, and they have the same band. And we'll do it if we can have Rochester Lords. And so I give them Rochester Lords. I almost had to do a little splitting up this year, but I finagled bands, and I got everybody a band. I've also had to go to the route because I didn't have enough band hosts where they'll have a parade band in the morning and then have a field band in the afternoon.
Okay.
Just because I didn't have enough volunteers. But being a band host is a great way to just kind of, I don't know, just see how the other bands do their things, and it's just a nice way of knowing that you're helping in another way, and it's fun. I was a band host a couple of times before I really got connected here, but yeah, it's a great experience.
That's so cool.
And I think, too, we really saw the value of the band hosts this year because we had to go indoors.
Right.
And I think the band hosts themselves saw their value because we needed to keep this going indoors. And, they were in different locations and that. So the band hosts played a big part in
Oh,
how
gosh,
it ran
yes.
It was
smoothly.
very orderly this year, and it was because of them.
Yes.
And we had a couple new band hosts this year, and I'm going, sorry, but this isn't the way it's normally done, but you did a great job. So,
Right.
Yeah. So they're willing to adapt, and I think most of them that I've ever had have always come back and said, yeah, I'll do it again. It was a great experience. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you get to watch the parade and the field show, or are you busy doing other things?
Well, I'm at the I call it station, Keene Bank now, where we sell the wristbands and all that. And I have my workers there. And then Dan Kimmel, who has been on our committee for a long time, too. He's very instrumental the day of. And boy, he comes up with some good ideas at our
Sure
meetings,
does,
too.
yes.
But he's instrumental in keeping this band, the
Parade.
participating, band people and parade period going. And he's stationed at Keene Bank, too, in that intersection. And so I kind of help them with that a little bit.
So they do see the band.
So you
So I
get
get
to watch?
see a little bit more of it, but the field competition I kind of miss out on.
Oh.
Yeah, and I get to see the parade. I ride through because they put me in a convertible and have to drive through it.
Yeah.
But once that's through, then I'm brought back and put on the VIP truck and sit there and watch the parade.
Okay.
And then as soon as it goes over to the Trowbridge Park to give out awards for the parade, then I go there, and that's where my day really begins, is over. Well, I shouldn't say that. Like I said, I'm at the high school.
Yeah.
But we give out the parade awards. And so I do see the parade. But as far as field show, on a normal year, probably hit and miss, because usually I'm on the golf cart putting out fires somewhere. Or
Sure.
somebody needs this, or I need this, or one year there was a medical thing, and I'm going, I'm not a medical person, but I found the right people to make it work.
Right.
And so this year I was able to see a few more just because it was inside, and we had people stationed at different places, so I don't want to say it wasn't needed, but I was able to see a few more shows, so.
Oh, cool. Have there been memorable performances over the last 20-some years, 30 years, whatever, 30 years, and that they've really stood out to you by schools? Because I know I have some performances that I just over the years, I'm like, oh my gosh, parade and field show that I just thought were awesome.
Well, the one thing that comes to my mind with Worthington, because they only participate in parade, and they usually have it's almost like a field show
Right.
competition.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But it was the year after that Butch passed away.
Oh,
They had a wreath, and the whole thing was around, they presented that wreath to Marilyn Dufault at the parade.
It was,
And just the way they did it, and they performed in front of the bank and all that, it was very heartwarming, and it was a good show besides. But there was a lot of respect shown, and it was very, very, very nice. So that's
so
one
neat.
of them that
Yeah.
stands out
Yes.
in my mind.
I think there's so many, you could probably take a point from each year and find something, but, the other thing that, I don't know if it's or brings back, but, we've had some rain delays, or we had to get off the fields, and, those type of things, and so that you think back, oh, remember the year that this happened, with the weather, and of course, we had it again this year, but as far as a year where they each stand out, they're all great. They're all great.
Edna, come on, we're not talking about your kids.
No. Well, I'll share this year's indoor concert, which we just had last weekend. I told you before we started that, for the band being smaller, they put out some tremendous sound and intensity and just, I don't even know what the right word is, but there was.
Just really filled the room.
It did.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when Edna, too, and this is kind of going backwards a little bit, but she talked about that VIP truck or whatever,
Yeah.
the parade. That's how we honor the Grand Marshals and the Friend of the Classic and others. After they go through the parade, they're brought to that truck, and they get to watch.
Oh, very
the
neat.
parade. So
Very
they're
neat.
treated very special. They get a corsage and a boutonniere.
Love it.
And then they go out to the high school for a little dinner or lunch or whatever
Yeah.
you call it in a hospitality room.
Cool.
And then at the field competition, they're introduced and they're given a plaque. So we try to make them feel
This
special.
is a classy event. Yeah, you ladies are putting on a classy event.
We try to make it classier every year. So,
Yes.
And we have to talk about Spatman a little bit too.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Spatman.
He is our mascot, and it started on our 10th anniversary when we had a competition, and it was even through the Waseca County News.
Yes.
And so we were looking for a name, and we did a lot of things that year, again, trying to evolve,
Yep.
trying to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a competition, and so Spatman came out as the name.
Yep.
So then we contacted Jerry Fritz, and she was making like a pumpkin costume.
Yeah.
So I said to her, Jerry, because she made one for my grandson. So I said, isn't this a good idea to start with that pattern? Spatman?
So that's how Spatman's
Yeah.
costume came out.
Right, and then she added the hat naturally,
Yes.
and the cape and all that, but the bigness came from a pumpkin
That is really
costume.
funny.
Well, I think we need to explain spats. Maybe
Yes.
people don't realize.
Yeah, tell what a spat is.
Okay, a spat is a piece of. I don't even know how to explain it. It went
kind of-
over
yeah,
our
it's-
band shoes. It's a piece of.
It almost was like leather.
It was
Yeah.
leather,
Went
a
over the-
white.
Yep.
white thing that went over the band shoes, so that when you marched, you really. It made a statement because.
Yes.
Well, on the other hand, if you were out of line, you really
And it made
noticed.
another
You noticed.
statement, yeah.
Yeah, but over the years, I mean, it was a thing to have these spats, and we were one of the few bands that had them, and we carried them on for quite a while. We don't have them now, which I almost want to say, phew, how many times did I bring home spats at the end of a show or a football game? Mrs. Burns, my spat is, they're broke. And so I bring them home, try to put some elastic on it and get them fixed. And so that's where the spats, we were one of the very few bands that wore spats over
Yeah,
our shoes.
I loved the spats when
there
they
they are.
when
And
they were
then-
worn.
And then many of the bands weren't doing it anymore, so then they decided not to. But I wondered if that name would change. So with the band directors that came after, I said, are you still okay with the name Spatman? And they said, this is history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't change that. But in looking at all our advertising that we do, I had our gentleman that helps with all this kind of get rid of the spats so the shoe still looks like it doesn't have spats anymore. But his name will stay forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know who the first Spatman was?
You?
was.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was in Jerry Fritz's sewing room getting the Spatman costume sewed around me.
When we started just this conversation a couple minutes ago, I'm like, I wonder if Ann wasn't. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Miss Swanson asked me to be Spatman, and I went, I don't know what that is, but sure.
Yeah.
She said, you just got to wear a costume at the Marching Classic, and I went, okay. So I was high-stepping my butt up and down State Street.
You're right, because you were given candy.
Yeah, so I was giving candy out, and high-stepping in those big, clunky shoes
Shoes
were
are like
ridiculous.
this. Yeah.
And I've never claimed to be in shape. And so just high-stepping up and down State Street was enough for me, let alone in costume. Oh, my gosh. It was a lot of fun. I think I did it 2 or 3 years, though. I came back from college 1 or 2 years to do it. And
Yeah, we keep having, new Spatmans, and then they're actually in the parade, but they get to be in a golf cart.
What? No. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
But they walk up and down with candy before that.
Well, all right then.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It just adds a little
Yeah.
joy
Yeah.
to the whole.
Yeah, that's my one band participation because I'm not musically inclined. I couldn't play an instrument. I played the trombone for 2 weeks and realized band's not for me. So that's my contribution to Waseca Marching Classic
And
and the
it's
band.
not for everybody, and
No.
that's fine.
And that's why you're helping us now as your role in the Waseca Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are so
Yeah.
welcome. You are
We're
so
also
welcome.
thankful for the chamber for what they let us store up at all of our.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. We're the kind of the
Amazing.
classic storage unit up there.
Right, and then they also entertain the judges.
Judges,
'cause
yeah.
they
Yep.
come there and.
Yep, they come and eat their lunch in between
Yeah.
the parade and yep, and so we entertain them while they're there, and we try to leave them alone because they are very, very serious before that parade takes place.
it is a serious thing. Yeah.
And they are kind of like they're band geeking out in there. They are.
They are.
They are beforehand. They're talking about movements and different changes in the music. And I hope this band does this. And if I see this, oh my gosh, they are just banding out.
I bet that would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, kind of. I don't understand half of it, but
Share what Lane wrote about us or told.
Well, Lane Powell, who has been, we've gone with the Tri-State Judging Association since day one.
okay.
It's a group of band directors who are part of this association, and that's how they are. They're judges. We have 6 judges that come. Mm-hmm. And so he was the head judge. He took the place of one of the other judges years ago as head judge. And so now he's retiring. So we asked him to kind of write something about the classic because it was going to.
It was with the paper when she was interviewing
Right.
us.
She was interviewing us, and she said she wanted different slants, and I said, well, how about from the head judge? So he wrote something. He was very, very complimentary to our event. And so when Deb Bentley even read it, she said, I think this has to be a separate piece. I think that
Oh,
people actually
wow.
have to see it in the paper as he wrote it without just bits and pieces. It was very complimentary
very
to
good.
Waseca
That's great.
committee, to the band students. It was a very nice piece, yeah, very nice piece. And I'd like to say something about our dear city of Waseca too. They do an awful lot for us.
Yes.
Yes.
Without them, they put up banners, they provide the police force during the parade. There's so many of us that have come together that we as a committee are very appreciative. The school system.
Janet.
We use the school, no charge. Jason on our committee has been an asset. It's just the custodial staff. They do it with such grace and patience, and we can't thank them enough.
Yeah, it really is a community event.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and having the city of Waseca and their staff work so hard at it, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and you're right. Without them, could not do it. Well, the school could not do it. It could not be as successful and fantastic as it is.
That's right. We need each one of them to make it a success.
Yes.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen in a bigger town, but I think Waseca is just the right size to make this work. It is. And people know, everybody knows everybody, so it's like, oh, I'll call up so-and-so, or I'll call up, and they'll do it. And that's all you have to do. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Over the years, have you had judging controversies or anything like that of, she dropped her rifle.
No.
How did they get first?
Oh,
Do you have anything like that where there
Well, we
crowd gasps?
we don't hear. Too
We don't
much of
hear
it.
You don't hear about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if someone's talking, it's behind her back.
yeah. Yeah, really. But I think if there was, I think it's been handled in a very diplomatic way.
Good,
And,
good.
You know, and I think, I don't know, I think kids know how to handle stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's going to happen to any band at any given time, or, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
And I think people are so appreciative of our efforts because even the veterans that were in the parade this year, they thought it was so wonderful that they were asked to be in the parade.
Nice.
And they said the crowd was so welcoming and it really touched them. So I think sometimes we do more than we realize.
Yeah.
Or, we don't know the impact. Maybe
Right,
that's the way I
right.
should say it. We don't know the impact it is on
right.
people.
Right.
Yeah, you just do what you do.
Yeah.
Yes, we just do it because we do it.
Yep, and it's just part of the plan, and that's the way it goes at the Classic.
Right.
Right, and we're not looking for anything in return.
No.
We just want to give everybody a very good day, a fun day that they'll remember. We kind of like to kid around
Really?
a little.
You ladies have got to keep it light because
Right.
I've seen the way your committee buzzes around the 2 weeks leading up to it, and you have got to keep it light because it is stressful.
During those 2 weeks or month prior, especially, or the week of, I don't know, our phones must be connected. I mean, we're on the phone back.
You two are sharing a brain for the month leading up to it because
That's well
it's
said.
unbelievable.
Yeah. I think what one doesn't think of, the other does, and we play off of each other. And I mean, I couldn't ask for a better person to work with, but
I feel the same way.
and that's the whole committee. I mean, Les Telugan, we're on the phone with him. I mean, our committee is just meant to be together, just because we know and we're dedicated to what we want to do.
And we each have our area, like Les, I think, really enjoys being in communication with band directors.
Yes.
And having Jessica, his daughter, be the band director at Stewartville, I think that's why he enjoys it so much. And so he's the one that's in communication with band directors. That's his area.
Yep.
We just leave him alone. I am kind of doing a few different things with advertising and with the wristbands and all that. But we each have our own area, and then I apply for grants and that. But we each respect the area that we work in. It's not that we don't offer advice if we see something that, we share.
Yeah, we do.
But at the same time, we each have our area that we try to.
Very
Care.
well-oiled machine is
That's
the
a nice
Classic
way of
Committee.
saying it.
Very well-oiled machine is the Classic Committee. I really appreciate what you ladies do and what your whole committee does for this event and for the community of Waseca. Like I said, everyone loves to come out to it. People come from neighboring communities. I know the bands enjoy coming here. Their fan base enjoys coming here, or else they would not come in droves.
Right.
Because they really, really do come in droves. It is fun to see the school colors of every band lined up and down State Street. It is just a ton of fun to see the essential rainbow
Yes.
of colors represented as we watch everyone cheer on their schools. And it kind of takes the pressure off of Waseca because we're just exhibitionists that day.
Right.
We're just there to have fun and show off our talents. Before we wrap up today, I've always got one last question. I know you're here as volunteers, but before you had kids in reality, back when you were in high school and you're 17, what did you envision yourself doing? What was your big dream, Edna?
At 17, I was thinking about being a teacher, whether it was going to be an elementary school teacher or a home ec teacher. Back then it was home ec now, but
Yep.
I started college as a home ec teacher, took one course, and I thought, this older lady was my professor. I thought my grandma taught me more. So I went back to elementary ed, and I did some teaching. But I was never in band. I was in choir, but never in band. It wasn't even, well, it was an option, but I didn't play. I played piano for a few years, but no, I never would have dreamt that I would be doing this today.
That's fantastic. How about you, Mary? What did you think you were going to do when you were 17?
Okay, I grew up in Ely. And my husband Jack also did. And I started going out with him when I was a sophomore in high school. And then he went on to college. I went on to Rasmussen School of Business. But my goal was to have a family. I wanted to be able to have a family. And I did play the clarinet in band up there. And then we came to Waseca. That's where he had his first teaching job. And we were all by ourselves here in Waseca.
Mm-hmm.
And we had family up north, and we eventually thought we'll go back up north, but we kind of liked Waseca. And so we stayed here and raised 5 children, which Waseca is very dear to our heart.
Mm-hmm.
And with Jack being a part of the school system, I loved it because I could be a part of it too.
Yes.
And so I enjoyed that aspect of it because I do love children. I thought about social work. I could have gone in many different areas, but I wanted to be with children and work with children for a good reason. And the band was one of it that I started with. But as you know, Jack is in theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes.
I was a part of that with him, watching many, many children grow. And I loved it. I just wanted to be around young people.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Those are all good goals.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really do appreciate it. I think we got some insight into how much work goes into the Classic because it's way more than just one weekend, that's for sure. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Bird's Eye Foods and Itron. Without them, we truly could not tell the big stories of our small town. Thank you to our production team, Small Town Media and Production. Please join me again next time for another episode of Waseca Small Town Big Stories.